This is Mr. Burley at the York Catholic District School Board. This is the Photopea tutorial. We're going to go through the different selection tools available. So I already brought the image in, and I'm using the image right from Photopea website because it works nicely for this particular thing. So the very first thing we have at the top here is we have a rectangle select, and that's simply you do something like this, and you can either change the color of that selection or you can delete it if you like to. I'm going to rasterize first. Rasterize, sorry. Then you can come back here, you can do something like that, and then delete it if you need to. Edit, undo. We have the ellipse one, so select, so we can do the same sort of idea, right? Like that kind of thing. And, whoops. And then we have down here, we have the Lasso Select tool, which works nicely. That's the Lasso Select tool is wherever you click, it'll draw. So you say I wanted to do something like this, and I've got the mouse button held down, and I can do some sort of selection like this. You can see how that would work like that, and then of course you can delete that or color change it or whatever you like to do. Then we come down here, we have the poly. This one works nicely. I'm going to actually use a different image for this one. I'm just going to show you because it works quite nice. So I'm going to use this one. Okay, now in this situation, say you want to change the color of this wall here. It's really easy with this particular tool. You can polygon here, this one, click it, and it does nice straight lines. So you can do, I'm not going to do a great job. You can zoom in though. So there it goes. I know I wasn't working properly. So anyway, I'd follow this much nicer than I'm doing here, but you can see what it does. It does a really nice straight lines, and I'm clicking to do an anchor point wherever I want. The real key to this one at the end, though, is there you go. And now I can go with something like this, like layer style, new adjustment layer, color, fill, maybe add blue, I don't know, change the blue color. And you can, of course, do all kinds of different colors. So that works quite nicely there, that one. Of course, that was our lasso. The next one here is the magnetic lasso. This one guesses or kind of predicts where you want to click on, and it kind of looks at the edge of something. So this a little more difficult here, but this one here, if I zoom in, I can take that tool and I click once, and then I start to draw along the edge. I'm not clicking anything, I'm just dragging, and you can see it's kind of guessing as to where I want. Now, when I go down here, what you can do now is you can manually click here and say, okay, now we're going to go down this way, right? And then manually click here. You can add manual clicks along the way, manual anchor points along the way. If you go too far and you think, oh, that's not right, you just hit delete, and it'll delete the last anchor point. See how it's deleting each time I hit the anchor point? So if it's not working out for you, you got to go back and do a nicer job selecting, and that's how that selection tool works. Okay, there you have that. And then we have the next one down. So we've covered those ones. The next one down here is this one, the magic wand. Magic wand, I don't particularly enjoy it. I don't find it works that well, but you know, you click on something and you can see what the magic wand's doing. It's selecting all the colors that are the same as the color that I selected, providing I've got this deselected. This one right here, if I hit the escape key, if I edit and undo that, and I have that selected, now when I select the magnetic tool, or magic wand, sorry, and click it, it'll only grab the color underneath and that's attached to the pixel I clicked on. So it won't, you see what I'm doing here, these are all independent. Whereas if I've got this deselected, when I select something like that, it'll select all the pixels that are the same color as that, exactly the same color as that. Okay, so in this particular thing, it works out quite nicely. It gets a little dicey when you're working with some, different colors that are very not so defined as this. Then we have the quick selection tool, which works quite nicely. One of my other videos, I go over it in quite detail. I use Dwight. It's video A1A, I believe, 1A, and you'll see that if you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see the picture of Dwight on the front, and I use him as an example. I'll do it right now, as a matter of fact, just to cover it. So bear with me. Here you go here. Paste this out here. And then I'll just drag Dwight in here like so. Okay, and now when I use the quick selection tool here, I'm going to zoom in a bit. You can see the quick selection tool. What it does is it grabs, I'm going to zoom in just a bit more, like so, and then it's kind of a back and forth thing. You play around with it a little bit, and you'll see here. So escape now, go back to the selection tool, and you can use the addition and subtract. So this is adding the pixels. So if I want to take them away, I want to take these out of the equation. See what it's doing. It's taking those out. Again, it takes a little bit of practice. You got to push and paint kind of thing. I'm holding down the mouse key. I'm taking these out of the selection. So, and if it goes too far, so I'm going to take that out of the selection. You see this. Oh, it went too far, and you just go back to add, and you can go back in and you can push that back out. But it is a little bit of a back and forth thing to play around with, but it does work quite well when you want to get into very fine things. So I want to take all this out of the selection. You see, I want to select Dwight. You see how it works quite nicely there. Same with this. I don't want this to be part of the selection, and you can push it in. And if it goes too far, you can either go, undo, or you can switch to add, and then let's add that back in, like so. And then back to the negative and take it away again, see, pushing it back down. So that does a fairly nice job there. I go into a little more detail with Dwight in another video. So we've covered now these tools here. We've got the magic wand, and we've got the quick selection. Now the object selection, it just selects the whole entire object. So whatever you happen to be. You can also select all here. So say for argument's sake, you had this image here and you want to select the whole entire image. Then you just go like this and go select all, and it will go on the outside. You can see it's run around the outside. It's selected the whole entire image. Okay, so those are the tools for the selection: rectangle tool, ellipse tool. We have the lasso tool, which works quite nicely. Magnetic tool at the bottom is a little more difficult to use, and remember, you got to delete those points. If you don't like where that's going, you just delete the points, and you can also add manual points by clicking along the way. The other thing you want to do at the end of a selection is always double click or hit enter to hold the selection. If you don't, if you hit the escape key or something else, you'll lose it and have to reselect it again.